us today, and welcome to the Business World Legal Awards. Let's start with what were some of the key takeaways from your panel discussion today?
Yeah, so I think all of us clearly believe in the India growth story that India is a gleam of hope in an otherwise bleak global economic environment. But I think we need to play our cards right, and that stems from government policy. It also stems from the kind of companies that are looking to raise funds, and I think currently I think people are talking about funding winter and the fact that there's been a little bit of a slowdown insofar as private equity investments are concerned. But I think largely the view was that this is only a temporary blip, and the India growth story continues to be the theme for various investments, strategic M&A or other private equity investments into the country. So I think we're both optimistic, but we also need to be cautious. And I think government regulation will and the manner in which it is and what it tries to address and how it tries to address it are going to be key as we try and reach that milestone.
So let's understand a little bit about, so the general counsels today are increasingly getting involved in the strategic decisions and also the day-to-day operations of the firm. So how do you think that is playing out?
Yeah, I think one of the very interesting points that came out in the panel discussion was that general counsels may actually be comparative to law firms, which is I think a very interesting point. But I think the role of the general counsel has only become more cemented. I think it's they're not looked at cost centers anymore. There is real value addition and addition to the kind of points and the kind of issues that they are bringing across the table, and also helping business become nimble. So, for example, whenever there is a potential change in law that is going to come about, it's important that general counsels, that they start discussions fairly early on, so that if there are tweaks to the business that are required to be made, that can be made well in advance, and the business can be prepared for those changes. So I think it's that of an enabler rather than being looked at as a cost center, and I think that's a positive sign. I think a couple of other issues that should be looked at is the whole point of privileged communication between the general counsel and the business, and I think that is something that I think legislatively some steps will have to be taken to ensure that that is maintained.
So what are your views on the BCI's new rules of allowing foreign lawyers to practice in India? We see a lot of foreign law firms coming into India. How is it going to change the Indian legal landscape?
It's a very interesting development. I think primarily started off with this whole discussion between India and UK on the trade agreement. And I think Bar Council has held a lot of discussions with the Law Society of England and Wales and the Bar Council of England and Wales, and I think that has sort of fast-tracked this move. I think there are a couple of aspects that we should be mindful of. One is that there has to be a level playing field for law firms that are based outside India and law firms that are based in India. For example, in certain countries, law firms are permitted to advertise their services. In India, lawyers are not permitted to do that. In countries like Australia, you have corporate structures that are followed for. So, for example, some law firms are listed entities in some jurisdictions. So I think a level playing field is what needs to be looked at if we were to go down this road. And in terms of sure, there will be some uh, instances where uh, large companies may prefer their the councils that they generally go to if they have an India office. But I think this is, I think, multiple industries across time have faced various challenges. It's just our turn this time around, and I think it's a question of how we deal with it. And ultimately, I don't think, if you look at other jurisdictions that have allowed this, and that have opened up the legal market, it has actually done. It has served better for the domestic legal firms because their rates have gone up. So I think if you look at other instances, and it's not as if the foreign law firms are going to come and they're going to set up large offices. I think the idea is to have a presence in India, which just gives comfort to international investors, and that is particularly important as we grow from a $3.5 trillion economy to a $5 trillion, eventually to a $10 trillion economy. We need foreign investments, and so therefore to give that comfort to these investors, it's a step which aligns well with that. There are also a lot of concerns that various law firms have, and I mean, I'm from a mid-sized Indian law firm, and we don't see that as a challenge. We see that this as an opportunity, and so yeah. So I think those are my thoughts on.
Some great insight. So my last question to you is, with the insolvency and bankruptcy code coming into play, do you think has it been able to achieve its goal of smoothing out the business operations of firms? What is your view on that?
Yeah, I think, look, this whole regime came in with a lot of hope, and I think there have been some blips along the way. You still have the debate of, is it value maximization for the creditors, or are you going to strictly follow the timelines that are set out under the IBC code? And I think the jury is still out on that. But I think this is a very important piece of legislation, because it's not just ease of doing business and ease of entry, but it's also ease of exit. And you may have situations, and you will have situations where you need to, you will have situations where companies will end up in a situation where they're unable to pay their creditors and they become insolvent. So it's important for us to get this right, and it will take some time, but I'm sure we'll find our footing soon enough.
Lastly, any advice to the young lawyers on any emerging trends they should keep an eye on?
That's a very important question. I think one of the important things that budding lawyers should do is to be updated on what are the various regulations that are coming in. Just pick up the Economic Times every day, or pick up any business newspaper, and just be aware of what are the trends that you're seeing in the market. What are the legal developments that are coming up? There are some great blogs that are available for free online, where you can just subscribe and you can be updated on what are the new developments that are taking place. And how that helps is that eventually, when you join a law firm or you join in-house the legal team of a company, you've hit the ground running. You already are aware of what is going on in terms of regulations of various industries. So I would say it's important to do that, and I would say some of the things that law schools don't teach, which are relevant in once you join private practice, is the attention to detail. It's a very, very surgical profession. Each law, each line, each notification has to be read with surgical precision to actually try and see not just what the law is, but what the loopholes are, right? And to try and preempt risks that their clients may be exposed to, and to address those risks. So it takes a lot of attention to detail, a lot of rigor, academic rigor, to actually be able to do that. So they should hone in on their skills insofar as these aspects are concerned.
Thank you so much once again for sharing these insights with us, and thank you.